guys, welcome back. I'm going to do a pearl pour for you today with the Decoart Supreme Sheen, but instead of doing the straight pour where I tip into the middle, I'm going to do a waterfall pour, where I let the paint flow down and just see what sort of effect I can get from that. What do you think? Yeah, I reckon that's a pretty good idea. I've never done one before. I mean, I've done waterfall pours and I've done pearl pours, but I've never put them together. So I'll just put those little marks there so I know where to keep my canvas, so I know it's in frame for you. All right, so that's what I'm going to use to lift it up. I will just tell you quickly about what I'm using. It's the same as I have been using for my previous pearl pours, and that's Floetrol and paint. The black paint I'm using, oh, it's heavy, Artist Loft Flow acrylic, because I've got lots of these. If you're in Australia and you can't get these, just use the black Liquitex Basics and mix it the same as you do with your other Liquitex Basics. It should be fine. So I'm mixing that 1 part paint to 1 part Floetrol, and then a splash of water. That's for my black. And my Liquitex Basics colours. Now this one here I've made a burgundy. So I've mixed this red, cadmium red deep, with a splash of purple and then a couple of drops of black to make the burgundy. And I've mixed that 2 parts Floetrol to 1 part paint. This pale pink here is medium magenta, so 2 to 1 with a splash of water. And then this one here is quinacridone magenta, so 2 parts Floetrol to 1 part paint, again with a splash of water. I just use normal house tap water. I don't use distilled water or tank water, just what comes out of the tap. Now the Supreme Sheen, this one is called Sterling Silver. I thought it would be the same as normal silver, but it's really quite pale. The regular silver was out of stock, so I just thought, oh well, it's silver, but it's a bit pale. So what I've done is I've just added like 2 drops of this pewter, and that's made it a nice bright silver. So we'll see how that goes. Now that I've mixed 1 part paint to 1 part Floetrol. This is a 59 ml or 2 ounce bottle. I've used half of that, so I've got 30 grams of paint and 30 grams of Floetrol, and then I can mix that with another 30 grams of Floetrol for a different pour later on. So that's my colours. Oh, somebody on my YouTube channel, I can't remember who it was, she said, can you please try fuchsia and silver? So this is for her, whoever you are. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. I should have written it down. And I thought, oh, that's a lovely, lovely colour scheme. So let's give that a go. Obviously, I couldn't just have pewter and silver. I need my black to make everything pop. And I'm going to just pour everything in from up high. If you've made up your paints, you know, a couple of hours in advance, and then you want to pour, just check the consistency again. You may have to add a splash of water if your paints have thickened up. So for this size canvas, it's a 30 by 40 centimetre or 12 by 16 inch. I know that I need about 375, 380 grams of mixed paint. So with my black, I'm going to add probably 2/3, just leave a little bit in the bottom. I don't need much, just a little splash in the bottom there. And then I'm going to add a little bit of water to that remaining black, and that's going to be what I put around later on. I don't need it all in the actual pour. I made up 60 grams of Floetrol and 60 grams of paint, and then a splash of water. All right, so that's thinned out. Now that's going to be for my base. So the black's in there. Now I just pour all these in from up high, just into the middle. And I've sort of gone dark, light, dark, light. The amount of paint that's in my colours is 40 grams of Floetrol and 20 grams of paint, so that's 2 to 1. If you don't work in grams, you can just divide that by 30 and it'll give you the ounces. So 30 grams is 1 ounce. All right, in with the lighter pink from up high, gives it all a chance to start blending. The Supreme Sheen paint is really quite strong. You don't need a lot of it, so I wouldn't use a whole bottle on this size canvas. If you're using, double this size canvas, by all means use a whole bottle, but you don't need a whole bottle on this little canvas. It just really takes over. You want to see some background. You just don't want to see just a mass of silver cells, do you? Right, in goes my burgundy. Don't know if you can see the consistency. I'll climb up the ladder and show you the consistency. There's no silicone in any of my paints. It's probably not the best choice because it's quite dark, but see, it still leaves a bit of a mound. Not quite as thick as I would use for my flip cut pours. Probably maybe about the same as I would use for my swipes, maybe. Yeah. So I've got a pouring workshop tomorrow. Tomorrow's Saturday. And the ladies are going to do a cloud pour with my milk paint. And then we're going to do a pearl pour with the Supreme Sheen. So they can choose what colours they want to do. Whether they want to do the pinks like this with silver, or maybe they want to do greens with copper, or maybe they want to do blues with gold, or who knows? They can choose. Now this one is a little bit thinner than the rest of the paints. Let's go up high. It's a pretty full cup, hey? Haven't used this silver before. When I did my other pearl pour, I used the regular silver. I must have used up the last bottle. Okay, doesn't matter if you end up having a little bit of paint on top, the paint that you scrape out, doesn't matter at all. Okay, look at that. Let's put that there for a minute. Now this I'm just going to lift up. I'm not sure if it's exactly the right angle. If it goes too slow, I can just tilt it up a little bit. And I come around here behind it and pour this way. I find that you get a different effect if you pour that way as opposed to pouring this way. You do get a different effect. It's bizarre. I'm just going to pinch that. Already getting some cells and things on top. Oops, I don't even know if you can see that. But there's a few cells on top. All right, let's go. Probably just about there, I guess. I'm going to try and pour. I'm going to do a bit of a jiggle pour like this. Up and down, up and down. Why are you flowing off to the side? You always flow off to the side. Yes, you do. I'll move over a little bit because it's moving down that way. Oh, here comes the pink. Up and down, little jiggle waterfall pour. Hope I haven't lost all my silver down there. Hopefully there's some in the middle here. Okay, that will do. It's basically just a little bit of pink and black coming through there now. So let's just pop that back down. I have got my push pins underneath to keep it up off the table. Just give my little container a bit of a wipe. I know, I'm a neat freak. Makes it easy to clean up later. All right. Well, this is interesting through the middle, isn't it? Got a little bit of a pink thing happening there. Got some silver cells popping up there. So I'm going to torch it, and then I'm going to put the remaining black around the outside and see how we go. Can't see much of that burgundy. The light pinks, that what was it, the medium magenta, it certainly seems to be quite strong-minded, strong-willed. Okay, there we go. Pop some bubbles. Now this, as you remember, is the paint that I had originally, and I've thinned it out just a touch because this is going to be my flow enhancer. And I want this other paint that's already on the canvas to flow nice and easily over the top of it. So that's why I thin it down. I don't want to kind of hit that and then have to go over a bump. Now if you want a little bit of black negative space, you don't have to go over every corner. Especially if you're struggling, you know, if you love your design and you don't want to stretch it, just if your corners are already covered, that's fine. And you don't have to go over the corners. Just use my little palette knife there to spread everything out. See that little, it was only about 1/3 of a cup that was left for the black, and it's plenty of paint to just cover your sides. And if you wanted to, you could do your edges as well down here. I may just run my finger over it real quick because, you know, I'm aware of the time that I'm taking with my videos, but just finger painting your edges if you're in a hurry. This type of technique does lend itself to stretching the paint. So, you know, if you're better off stretching the paint out over the edges anyway, because it's the paint rubbing over the other paint that creates your pearls, your pretty effects. I think I'm going to like the colours on this one. I'm already liking them. Okay, that is done. Now I'm just going to take a little bit of paint, I've got plenty there, and just cover those sides. Just as well I've got gloves on, hey. I've got to be so careful because I'm a nurse. I can't go to work with black paint under my fingernails. I've got a couple of nail brush scrubbers to try and get the paint out of my fingernails. So I have to wash my nails as soon as I can, because once the paint dries, it's, you know, it's a bit hard to get out, hey. But I do wear my gloves. And I think, oh, I'll just take them off just to, you know, take a photo of a painting. And then I've got paint all over my fingers again. Oh well. Okay. Just wipe that finger. So that's looking pretty, hey? I've been thinking about doing a waterfall one like this for ages, just not knowing, you know, what it would do. Because when I do a dirty pour, I always end up with that squiggle in the middle. So this I've still got a squiggle, but it's kind of the full length of it, which is really pretty. Now I think I like this half best, so I might go off to that corner first. That cup's leaving a shadow. Let me move it. Okay, stretch out to that corner. I don't know if I want to go over it just yet. I think I might just come back to the middle. As I said, it's the stretching of the paint that creates your pearl effect. So stretch it a few times, or a couple of times, and I go out to each corner like that. I guess the only issue with doing that, you know, stretching twice to that corner, twice to that corner, you know, you've stretched it 8 times. If you're in love with your cells that you've got, you might not want to stretch it 8 times because they're all going to overstretch. So I think I'll go back to this corner now and go over the corner, because I am getting some pretty cells up, so I may not want to destroy those. I'm going to turn it and I'm going to come around to this corner. and I can do down here last. And if I decide I've got too much paint on the surface, I can take some off up here. So just slowly, slowly. You don't have to rush, just take your time, watch what your cells are doing. And come back to the middle and just take a little bit of that pink off. Just a touch. Okay. Now I think I'm going to torch it again. Now that I've moved a few things around. See if that can encourage some of the more little cells to pop up in this dark area at the top here. I really like these stripes here that I'm getting. So I don't know if I can, we'll see, I don't know if I can keep them or not. As I said, I haven't done a pearl pour with a waterfall pour before, so I'm not quite sure what to expect, what I can keep, what I can't keep. Oh, there's something in there. What is that? I just noticed that the paint's not moving very well there. I don't know if it's something in there or... it's probably a little bit of... it looks like a blob of unmixed paint really, so there's not much I can do about that. Sometimes the Liquitex Basics paints are a bit difficult to mix. Okay, over we go. Yeah, it could be a little bit chunky. The best thing to do with Liquitex Basics when you're mixing them is to add half of your Floetrol, then add all of your paint, mix it up to a nice thick paste, and then add the remaining amount of your Floetrol. Found that's the best way to handle Liquitex Basics. Okay, I want to keep some of those stripes, so let's come back. Okay, so this silver mixed with the pink has obviously given us some sort of pinkish, greyish, silverish pearls there. So that's pretty. Okay, now you don't really want to keep stretching because these that you've got here, they will keep growing, and I don't particularly like it when they sort of all grow too much out of shape. So we'll let that sit there for a bit and see what it wants to do, if it wants to do anything else. It's a totally different look, isn't it, from a dirty pour, where you just pour all the paint into the center. Let me show you one. That was the blue and silver one. Because I poured into the middle, I've got that kind of squiggle there, and then we've got the cells around the outside. So, very different sort of a look. Right, I don't know if it's going to do much more. I will give it, I'll put the video on pause, and I'll just check my edges and things, clean up underneath, and then I'll come back to you and just see if anything else has happened. But what do you think? It's pretty, isn't it? I really like this pop of that bright pink through the center there. And then we've got these bright pink lines on the edges there. It's a nice contrast to all that dark in the middle. Not sure what's going on over here. I don't know what that is. Doesn't matter. It's obviously a ring. It's kind of elongated. All right, I'll zoom you in. Let me climb up my ladder. I'll zoom you in and then I'll come back in 10 minutes or so. I'm going to keep setting up for my class tomorrow. There's always so much to do for the classes. Okay, so that's it there. I'll take you down for a close-up when I come back. All right, I'll see you soon. So it doesn't look as if it's changed a lot. There have been some more cells in that bottom left corner pop up. For me, I think that the pearls up in that top right sort of side across the top there and down to the right, they've kind of grown a little bit. They've kind of lost their silver colour. They're a bit sort of greyish. I'm thinking that maybe that extra splash of water I put in my black was not a good idea, because it hasn't held the pearls in place as well as it should have. So it's a fine line when you're doing this technique. You know, you have to have it thin enough so that the pearls will pop through the other colours, but then if you have it too thin, the pearls pop up and they kind of lose their shape. So just a bit of a practice, trial and error, but have a go. So I've got that stripy corner there with the bright pink in it. And then these pearls here, I don't think that you can actually see the shimmer very clearly on the screen, but it is silver metallic, so they are shining. And I do like this hot pink sort of center that we've got going on there. And there's little tiny pink cells popping up here and there. And then we've got that silvery pink corner. As I said earlier, the silver's kind of taken on the color of the pinks. When I did my blue and silver pour, the silver cells all kind of went a bit of a bluish tone, and that's just what you're going to get with fluid art. You know, your colors are going to blend. So that's it there. Happy with that one. Now I'm going to do, I've just mixed up some more paints. There they are. And I'm going to do a cloud pour next. And I'm going to do the same technique, the waterfall, and just see what we get with the milk paint and a cloud pour. All right, I'll see you for that one soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.